the cracks in the Brown family aren't just showing, they're shattering. After years of tension, heartbreak, and silence, the truth about Kody Brown's cruelty is finally breaking wide open. From Christine's tears to McKelty's final move across the country, from Aspen's shocking exit to the kids who say they'll never film again. This is the story the cameras tried to hide. In this video, we're exposing how multiple Brown kids abruptly quit sister wives, how Kody's behavior pushed them to their limits, and what this means for the show's future. Because sometimes, it's not the cameras that break families, it's the man behind them. Now, let's start where everything began. When Christine's heartbreak turned into the first public crack in the Brown empire. Ever wonder what happens when family drama collides with a cross-country move that nobody is ready for? Christine Brown has a full-on breakdown because her daughter is about to move to North Carolina. McKelty and Tony's move that happened more than a year ago is now going to show up on the show, and we're going to hear from Kody about why he didn't show up for McKelty. Interestingly, I didn't see Miss Robyn, who has literally been the woman that said for years that McKelty was her daughter and that these babies were her babies, right? The babies were her babies. Do you remember that, Robyn Brown? The babies were her babies. These are my babies too. She slept in the closet when McKelty had the twins. She claims that these are her grandchildren. Well, apparently Kody couldn't be bothered to show up to spend a final goodbye with McKelty and Tony. It was their last chance to see them before they moved all the way across the country. One side of the country to the other. This is not a short plane ride. This is not a short distance. They will now forever be very far apart. And now Robyn and Kody squandered that. That choice left Christine devastated about them moving. And if that missed goodbye wasn't enough, wait until you hear who else steps into the spotlight next. Picture a date night you didn't ask for. Now imagine it's on TV and more awkward than you can believe. And sadly, Mary also is going to speed date. And it's insufferable. Listen, Tony wouldn't let me live polygamy, so I can't have sister wives to rely on for multiple kids, which means the closest thing I have is cousins for my kids. Okay? Yeah. No bullying me. No, I don't think Tony McKelty ever really considered plural marriage. I think we gave off the image that plural marriage was easy. Actually had a relative get after me once for making plural marriage look easy, and I went, no, we didn't. While we're dealing with this fakeness that's happening over here, I just wanted to remind you guys that I have some piping hot tea. Ready for that tea? Because the story about Aspen and the pressure she carried is about to change everything. Here's the moment where the perfect family story cracks, and an oldest daughter says, I'm done. So, you know how in Christine's book she said that Aspen said that she was done living Christine's life and that she wanted to live her own life now because Aspen had been basically forced to be like a second mom to the kids. Her entire life was really revolving around helping her mom with the kids because Kody was never around. And Aspen's had to put off a lot of things in her life because of what her mom needed and the help that her family needed. And that's not a bad thing. That's just like the kind of person that Aspen is, right? There is a lot of pressure on the oldest daughters in this culture, and there's a lot of expectations placed on them to be sort of like that mother helper. And for oldest daughters, they can get a level of burnout. And it can also really alter the dynamics between mothers and daughters. So oldest children and oldest daughters end up a lot of times getting parentified. And so they take on a role where they're not just a child, but they become a parent to the child, and they also become a parent to their siblings. And because Christine and Kody's relationship was such a mess, it created a lot of space for the girls, the oldest ones, to feel like they had to mediate in between the drama. But mediation has a breaking point, and McKelty's move exposes exactly where that line is. When being the peacemaker becomes your whole identity, escape can look like a moving truck. Although not discussed in this clip at all about why she's moving, one of the reasons why McKelty moved is because she was tired of being the go-between between Christine and Kody when it came to Truly. She was tired of having to be the peacemaker, the one to manage their drama, to deal with the drop-offs and pickups. Because she had a decent relationship with Kody for a period of time, she kind of felt like that had been exploited. And so she needed to have some distance so that she could have her own life. She wanted to have her own life without her parents involved and freedom to do whatever she wanted. Well, not only does McKelty move, but Aspen will never be on the show again. Yep, that's what McKelty said on her Patreon this week. She said Aspen will never be on Sister Wives again. That perhaps the episode we just watched, where she was at the property with Maddie and Janelle looking at the property, that it was before she got pregnant, it was before she has had her baby now. And Aspen does not want any part of her child's life on a reality show. She doesn't want her pregnancy on the reality show. She doesn't want her kids featured on the show. She doesn't want them talking about the kids on the show. She's done. And if Aspen's out, the ripple effects hit McKelty next, especially after that big move. Moving states sounds bold, but try moving and juggling work kids and a partner chasing a dream at the same time. Aspen has, according to McKelty, completely quit the show. And because McKelty has moved to a part of the country where she's not actually by anyone, she will very rarely be on the show again after this move. So she moved to North Carolina, but she's not super close. She is like 3 or 4 hours drive from where Maddie and Janelle are. So it's not as easy as her filming with Maddie and Janelle or doing things together, because since she's moved, McKelty works full-time, Tony kind of works full-time. He's doing stuff as a chess instructor and does like online stuff for their like digital content. He's not making a ton of money. It's really heavily, she's carrying the burden, a lot of that, for her income. And Tony's chasing his dream of becoming a professional chess player. And so far, they're doing okay financially, but it's just placed a lot of responsibility on McKelty because she's got 3 young children. Her husband works, but he's not making as much as he could. She's having to work full-time. And so she doesn't even see Maddie and Janelle all that much because she doesn't have time. And if they wanted to even travel to see anyone, they can't because they really can't afford it. And the family support you'd expect? The next part shows exactly who did and didn't show up. The last face-to-face meeting says everything, especially when it happens at a funeral. Kody and Robyn have never gone out to see her. The last time she saw Kody and Robyn was literally at the funeral for Garrison, when she, I think, was at the National Guard one that happened in Nevada. That was the last time she saw them, and that was in March of 2024. She has really not talked to them since. So the last time she saw them was right after Garrison died, and Aspen has quit the show. That's the reality of where we're at. But also, Tony needs to pursue his chess career. You're like, wife of the century. Letting him have a chess career. Sorry, I shouldn't do that. He makes money. Me, it's the chess capital of the US. I'm someone who works in chess, makes content, and teaches and coaches. Me moving out there is like so exciting because that's like the hub. Have you told Dad? Yeah, Dad knows I'm moving. Okay, told him he should come up and see us before we leave, and it didn't happen. But Tony's opportunity isn't small. And what it unlocks next for coaching and content ramps the tension even more. What happens when a dream move and a family divide collide? The answers show more than anyone expected. Tony's passion for chess might sound niche, but to him it's everything. The move to North Carolina wasn't random. It was strategy. The region is known as a hub for chess tournaments and coaching opportunities. He wanted to be where he could grow, teach, and compete. For Tony, that meant starting over completely. New students, new clubs, and new goals. Meanwhile, McKelty was juggling 3 young kids, a new job, and a new home, all while trying to maintain the family's image online. She worked long hours, balancing family life, filming, and Tony's travel. Every time she mentioned her father, the tone shifted, a mix of frustration and sadness. The connection just wasn't there anymore. The emotional gap had turned into miles, both literal and figurative. And just when things start to settle, Christine's reaction to the move reignites old wounds no one thought would reopen. The cameras may stop rolling, but behind closed doors, the pain keeps replaying louder than ever. Christine's heartbreak over McKelty's move was raw. She tried to smile for the cameras, but viewers could see the tears in her eyes weren't scripted. She'd imagined having her grandkids nearby, sharing dinners, helping with school events, but that dream vanished overnight. The house felt emptier, the laughter quieter. Meanwhile, Kody's absence became the elephant in the room. His refusal to show up, or even make a proper farewell, left Christine torn between anger and resignation. It wasn't about logistics. It was about care, or the lack of it. The show captured fragments of that pain, but insiders say what we saw was just the surface. Off-screen, the silence between Kody and his kids had turned into something much heavier. A wall built out of years of disappointment. Yet the silence doesn't last forever. because the next revelation comes straight from one of the kids themselves, and it changes everything. When the children start speaking up, the truth can't be edited out, no matter how hard anyone tries. According to McKelty's own words on Patreon, several of the Brown kids have officially said they're done with filming. They no longer want their lives shaped by the show or defined by Kody's storylines. Years of being caught in the family's public drama finally took its toll. For some, it wasn't just about privacy, it was about peace. The constant retelling of pain, the staged reconciliations, the emotional exhaustion. All of it pushed them to quit. Aspen, McKelty, and others agreed they needed to protect their kids from the same spotlight they grew up under. They wanted a childhood without producers, microphones, or headlines. Their decision wasn't sudden. It was years in the making, one quiet boundary at a time. But what happens when stepping away from fame exposes the family's deepest divide? And who still sides with Kody? Loyalty lines are redrawn. And who each child stands with says more than any scripted scene ever could. Over time, the split among the Brown kids became undeniable. Some kept occasional contact with Kody, while others completely distanced themselves. The younger ones, caught in the middle, often felt torn between what they saw on TV and what they felt at home. Meanwhile, Christine tried to hold on to the pieces of connection left, offering her support to any child who needed it. McKelty often described her mom as her anchor, while her father became a stranger she barely recognized. Robyn's presence, once portrayed as motherly, faded from the picture entirely. The unity that once defined the Sister Wives family had been replaced with separate lives, separate loyalties, and separate truths. And as filming for the next season begins, one shocking decision will decide if the Browns ever appear on screen together again. What happens when the cameras roll again, but half the family refuses to show up? The truth hits harder than any edit. Production reportedly wanted a major reunion, a moment where Kody, Christine, Janelle, and the kids could finally face each other. But that idea fell apart fast. Many of the Brown kids declined, saying they were done being used as storylines for someone else's drama. McKelty said plainly that she didn't want her kids filmed anymore, and Aspen wanted nothing to do with it. Even Janelle's children began to distance themselves, tired of the tension that never seems to fade. Christine, though, kept her promise to protect her peace. She agreed to film only on her terms. The producers, desperate to save the season, tried to rebuild the story around whoever was still willing to appear. But without the full family, it just didn't feel like Sister Wives anymore. And then came the real twist, one that no fan or producer saw coming, changing the entire direction of the show. Imagine your family's reality show turning into your personal goodbye. That's exactly what happens next. The breaking point came when Kody reportedly refused to address his role and how fractured everything had become. Instead of accountability, there were excuses and finger-pointing. The kids who once adored him now watched him act like a stranger. Fans noticed too. The charm that once made Kody a central figure now felt hollow. Meanwhile, Christine's confidence grew stronger. She rebuilt her life, found new happiness, and finally saw herself outside of the polygamy shadow. Janelle followed that same path, choosing self-respect over old expectations. Together, their quiet strength started to outshine the chaos that once defined the series. What used to be about plural marriage had now turned into a story of survival and healing. But just as Christine finds peace, a shocking message from Kody surfaces, reopening wounds that were finally starting to heal. The message that reignited the drama wasn't just personal, it was public, and it hit the family like a storm. Kody made a statement during an interview that felt like an attack on his ex-wives and older children. He hinted that the kids were being influenced against him and that certain wives had turned them away from the family. The words stung deeply, especially for those who had spent years trying to repair what he broke. McKelty, usually calm and diplomatic, couldn't stay silent. She subtly responded online, reminding everyone that love can't be forced, it has to be earned. Her words resonated with fans, who saw in her strength the same grace Christine had carried through her own heartbreak. The cracks in the family weren't new, but now they were visible to the entire world. And as the family's story keeps unfolding, one final decision threatens to erase the Sister Wives' legacy completely. Every story has an ending, but this one closes with a truth no one wanted to say out loud. With multiple Brown kids quitting the show, Aspen gone for good, and McKelty stepping back, the future of Sister Wives looks uncertain. What once began as a journey about love, faith, and family unity now stands as a lesson in boundaries, respect, and change. Christine has found her peace, Janelle continues to live independently, and even Robyn, once at the center of it all, faces the consequences of choices that isolated her family. The audience that once watched for curiosity now watches for closure. The curtain hasn't officially fallen yet, but everyone can feel it coming. And as each Brown child quietly moves away from the spotlight, one truth becomes clear. Sometimes walking away is the only way to heal. Or is it the end? Because one final rumor hints at a possible new spin-off. And this time, it's Christine who might take the lead. And that's where we stand. A family once built on unity, now divided by silence. Christine has moved on. Janelle is standing strong. Aspen and McKelty have chosen peace over spotlight. Meanwhile, Kody Brown is left watching the empire he built crumble in front of him. One relationship at a time. Do you think the Brown kids made the right choice walking away from the show? Or do you believe Kody will somehow pull them back into the spotlight again? Let me know your thoughts down below, because this story is far from over. The truth about Sister Wives isn't just unfolding on TV, it's unraveling in real life. And trust me, the next chapter is going to shock everyone. If you believe the kids deserved better, hit that like button. If you want the real story, not the edited version, subscribe now, because the truth behind Sister Wives is only getting louder.